Welcome to the video series on using Quality Matters to improve your course. We'll detail how you can use the Quality Matters rubric as a guideline to help make significant improvements to your course. This video series will introduce the unannotated version of the Quality Matters online course rubric and give you an opportunity to brainstorm course improvements that the rubric suggests. Please note, this is a two-part video series. Part 1, which is what you are watching now, will cover the first half of the Quality Matters rubric, and Part 2 will cover the second half of the rubric. Watching both parts of this video series will ensure you understand all the parts of the Quality Matters rubric and how it can be used to improve your online course. At the end of this video, you'll be able to identify the major categories of the QM rubric, and also connect standards 1 through 4 with specific parts of your course. Quality Matters is an organization that researches best practices in online teaching, though their rubric is also very applicable for face-to-face courses. The rubric they've developed is often used as a metric for quality assurance in online learning. Quality Matters arose from Maryland Online, in an effort to address concerns about the variable quality of online education. The U.S. Department of Education awarded Maryland Online a 3-year grant to research the topic. This research group evolved into Quality Matters, a nonprofit organization that developed a rubric to evaluate course design. Rutgers has an institutional subscription to Quality Matters. This gives you access to the full version of the rubric with annotations and recommendations. To sign up, visit qualitymatters.org. Under Membership in the menu bar, select My QM Login. On the Sign-In page, select No, I am new here, and then click Sign In. This will bring up an online form for you to complete. When you are done, click Create Account. Be sure to affiliate your account with Rutgers University to get access to the full rubric. Once you are signed in to the website, you can access the rubric by selecting the My Account icon on the top of your screen. Once on the My Account page, select the QM Rubrics button and then the Higher Education link. This brings you to the Sample Reviewer Worksheet page. This interactive page allows you to navigate through the annotated version of the rubric. The rubric is broken down into 8 general standards, which are listed as tabs across the top of the worksheet. Each general standard has a handful of specific review standards to address in your course. The specific review standards are listed as tabs on the left side of the worksheet. We'll look at the first 4 general standards in Part 1 of this video series and how you can apply them to your course. The full annotations that you see on this worksheet help you understand how to apply these standards to your online courses. The rest of this presentation will paraphrase the rubric standards. You can follow along by looking at this annotated rubric on the Quality Matters website if you like. Let's begin with General Standard 1, which deals with the course overview and introduction. Online learners with no guide besides the course materials need you to provide a course overview and tell them how to get started. They need to know supporting policies and information. They need you to set the tone for the course. And they need an opportunity to meet you and their fellow learners. In order to apply General Standard 1 to your course, let's look at Specific Review Standard 1.1, which recommends providing clear directions on how to get started in the course. Our department created a template designed for instructors to import into their courses, and it serves as a pretty detailed example. There is a course description followed by 4 buttons that direct students to the Getting Started module, the Course Essentials module, the syllabus, and the weekly modules for the course. These 4 elements are broken down further under the heading, How to Begin This Class, in case students need further directions. This covers getting started pretty thoroughly, but it is rather static. Let's look at another example from our academic video production course, one of the courses in our certificate program for online teaching. It has a much more dynamic welcome and orientation in the form of a video tour of the course. It introduces the professor and it shows where everything is. If you choose to do a welcome video or any other videos in your course, remember that it will need to be captioned for accessibility. If you use Kaltura, this will happen automatically, although you may want to double check for accuracy. The point of showing you both course designs is so you can see that there are multiple ways to address each standard. In the end, both courses make it clear to students how to get started and where to find various course components. Let's now consider General Standard 2, which addresses learning objectives. The learning objectives establish a foundation upon which the rest of the course is based. They signal to your students what skills they will work on and master if they successfully complete the course. We'll use Standard 2.1 as an example to see how we can apply these practices to our courses. This standard calls for course outcomes that are measurable. In other words, the skill or knowledge the course outcomes describe can be measured by some kind of assessment. Let's use an objective from English 101 as our example. Unfortunately, the goal listed here is not concrete. A strong grasp of writing skills is not easily measurable. However, this goal could become measurable by breaking down writing skills into more specific skills. For example, to communicate complex ideas effectively, to evaluate and critically assess sources, to analyze and synthesize information and ideas from multiple sources to generate new insights. These three goals cover the more general idea of writing skills more precisely in order to measure if your students are mastering these skills. Moving on, General Standard 3 deals with assessment and measurement. This standard calls for you to find a way to concretely measure the skills your students are working toward. When applying Standard 3.1 to your course, always remember alignment. The assessments you create for your course should measure the skills listed in your learning objectives. Let's look at different types of assessments and what skills they measure. Essays align well with learning objectives that measure skills that require students to explain or describe certain concepts. Additionally, for smaller assignments, essays can be replaced with online discussion boards or short answer questions. These assessments would still be able to determine whether students can explain or describe certain concepts. Multiple choice questions, however, would not be an assessment that aligns with those skills. Instead, multiple choice questions align better to learning objectives where an instructor wants their students to define or identify specific vocabulary terms. Finally, let's imagine a learning objective in a photography course that wants students to be able to create a body of work that illustrates their photographic vision. If the instructor assigns students to write a 25-page thesis about contemporary photographers, they would not be measuring their stated learning objectives. They would want to change the assessment to better align with the learning objective, such as creating a portfolio instead of writing a 25-page thesis. The last standard we will look at in part 1 of this video series is General Standard 4, which deals with instructional materials. Instructional materials should be cogent, demonstrate the skills students are trying to master, and enable learners to achieve the stated learning objectives. Let's focus on Standard 4.2 to see how this can be applied to online courses. Basically, students should clearly understand how material presented in your course will help them to complete coursework. Depending on which instructional materials you use in your course will determine what this standard looks like in practice. Imagine you are teaching an online course that requires students to read information on an external website. When you link the students to this instructional material, also briefly explain how the information will be used in the learning activities. This will help your students hone in on the proper information and successfully complete assignments in your course. Let's take some time now to think about how you can incorporate some of these best practices into your own courses. Take a minute to look at your course from the student perspective. Do you provide clear directions for your students on your Getting Started or Welcome page? Will all students be able to clearly start your course? Is there anything that is unclear or missing that will leave students struggling or asking questions? Whatever it is that you're now noticing, make sure you include this on this page so students know how to begin your course. Next, take a minute to consider the objectives in your course. What are your course learning goals, and do your assessments align to each learning goal? Is it clear in the learning goals what the measurement or assessment will look like? In terms of alignment, do the materials and tools that students use in your course allow them to successfully complete their assessments? When thinking about the instructional materials in your course, can students clearly discern how these materials help them complete activities? Taking these simple steps will help ensure that your course aligns to the standards of the Quality Matters rubric and improve your students' online learning experience. This concludes part 1 of our video series on using Quality Matters to improve your course. Please continue watching part 2 of our video series, which will cover the second half of the Quality Matters rubric. If you would like assistance with any part of applying the rubric or building your course, please feel free to contact us.